Hi, this is Steve Bystrom from GSX, and we're here to talk about GSX Monitor and GSX Analyzer to help you with your Exchange 2010 environment. We've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to go fast. GSX Monitor is an agentless tool. No code whatsoever is installed on your servers. Makes for a very streamlined deployment, and there's minimal footprint on any of the monitored servers and on your bandwidth, etc. It's also models user activity. What that means is that we're going to do repetitive scenarios to test these resources to make sure they're really working. So test the email messages, etc. We'll get into that in a couple moments to show you what that means. And then finally, in a later session, we're going to talk about utilizing data to help manage your environment more effectively. So that means reports, that means understanding metrics, that means graphs, KPIs, SLAs, to understand what's happening in your world. Without further ado, let's get into the system. Okay, so here we find the Gsx Exchange Overview, and the intention of this dashboard is to group the servers that fit into various roles into groups so that you can understand them more effectively. We obviously have Mailbox servers, but some of those Mailbox servers work together in a DAG. So this would be a visual way of showing, in this case we only have one DAG, but you might have multiple, and obviously you can have more than two servers in the DAG, so we would show each and every one of those Mailbox servers in the DAG. The green color underneath the name of this particular DAG tells me that the DAG is up, replication services are working, and mailboxes are available. In fact, every database has either a mounted, has at least one mounted and healthy copy, or more if we have more than two partners, but we only have two, of course. So the DAG is an entity in and of itself. The same concept with the CAS, where we have individual servers providing user connection protocols. So they may be the same on both, or they may be different ones, and there may be more than two of these. And the green underlayment shows me that the CAS array is working. We have a similar concept, but of course they're not really grouped together for the hub servers and for Active Directory. And let's drill down and look at the main view dashboard, looking at all of our servers. So in this little pretend world, we have, I don't even know, a couple of hundred servers here that are in different platforms. We've got some BlackBerry servers. We've got, obviously, here in the lower left where we'll spend most of our time, the Exchange servers. We've got some Domino servers. We've got some SharePoint servers. We're not going to be able to cover all this. In fact, we're only going to be able to cover part of the Exchange piece today. So let's kind of tell you what each of these mean. If it's up, the green light, green is good, red is bad. It's telling me that the Windows services that are supposed to be running on this server to support its role are indeed up and functioning. And this server happens to be a Mailbox server. So let's drill down and go into the configuration to show you what this is. Here we have that this is a Mailbox server, and just for quickness, I'll just turn on other roles on this server so we can show you those other pages, even though you probably would not want to configure this in real life. So this Mailbox server, we can do various checks on it. The Mailbox connectivity check is allowing us to connect all the way through the CAS to an individual mailbox on one of your in one of your database stores utilizing the MAPI protocol. This is as close to a real user connection as we really can get, and we're using the Xtest mailbox to do that as well. The next one, alert on a mailbox role, and we have an alert for down, alert for up. We pretty much have reciprocal alerts everywhere, and this is telling us that the mailbox role is up. The Windows services that need to be up are up, as well as that we have at least one healthy and or mounted copy of each of the databases. I guess I'm really speaking about this as a DAG, but on the individual server, all the database copies are either healthy or mounted. When we look at them as a DAG, we're going to get them grouped across multiple servers. Then we get into some extra alerts to help you manage these servers more effectively, and some of these are looking at managing your storage space more effectively. So if we have more than a certain amount or a certain percentage of white space, this alert would be issued. And again, I guess maybe we should go look at what an alert is. This one's disabled, but let's just say we want to use the default profile. And in the default profile, we're going to send an email to someone or several people or a distribution list, as well as some other alerting methodologies, which in this case, we're sending a SNMP trap to System Center and or HP OpenView or VMC Patrol or whatever other infrastructure monitoring tool we might have. Okay, so that's what these alerts are. Anywhere you see these boxes, we can fire off an alert, which is either self-contained or going into another tool. The next alert type is a database store size. So if it goes above some value that you as an administrator get to set, we're going to issue this alert. It doesn't mean anything's down, but it does mean that we're we're growing and we may have some issues where we want to split things apart. Whatever it happens to be is the appropriate activity that you want to take. Now, this server actually wasn't a cast server, so we don't have anything turned on, but we just flipped the switch for demo purposes. So if it really was a cast server, and we would establish that role back here on the connectivity page, GSX Monitor now will check whichever one of these cast protocols that your users are using to connect to their mailboxes that happen to be running on this particular server, and then correlate them across the various servers in the array. And then also, are we going to want to monitor Outlook web services? So let's get into each one of these. The first one is the cast role. Is the cast role up? Are the protocols that are supposed to be on here being delivered? That's the first question. The next question is the Outlook web app average response time in the scan interval exceeding some value? So nothing's down necessarily, but we are starting to see some latency, and we want to notify you about that. And again, we would utilize these alert methodologies based on whatever team and whatever time of day is supposed to get this. Then the next alert is saying, are there more than one Outlook offline address book queued up to be pushed out? This is a Microsoft guideline. If it's greater than 0, something's wrong. So you can set this threshold to be appropriate, but really it should be at 1. Then we can get further. Each of the protocols that we're utilizing on this particular cast server, we can set up a unique latency threshold that beneath that is considered normal, and above that is considered an alert where we would notify you. So always working great, but ActiveSync is taking too long and your mobile users are going to suffer. We could notify you of that. And we can set unique thresholds for all the 4 main protocols. Outlook web services. Okay, so we all know what this stuff is, so let's just go through what's here. If the availability service isn't working and people can't get free busy, they're not going to be happy, so we need to make sure that we can support our users. If offline address books can't be pushed out, people aren't going to be able to utilize the address book functionality that they need and not be able to work effectively. RCP, HTTP, okay, so if their tasks list or calendars are not available, obviously you're going to want to know that. And obviously no one can connect if auto-discover is not working. So you can utilize these various checks to watch those key critical services for you. We already looked at mailbox role. Scanning is sort of a general page where we determine what is the frequency that we check on this server. So every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes, every 12 minutes, whatever it happens to be. And we do that cyclically forever and ever. If we see a failure, we start to go at a lesser interval, which you can establish here as the retry interval. And then we can either wait and for a couple of retries or immediately send out an alert based on where the alerts are triggered at these values here. And of course, here's where the different types of alerts would be defined. Windows services really are kind of a product of the role that this particular server is fulfilling. So if it's a mailbox server, there's going to be specific services that are critical to making sure that it fulfills its function. If it's a cast server, there'll be different ones. And GSX pre-populates this, and you can see here this warning is telling me some of them haven't been turned on, and it's telling me to do that. Now you can, in addition, establish some additional non-critical Windows services that you choose to want to monitor on this server, and it's an entirely different type of alert. If one of these fails or one of these fails, you get notified in a different way. The mail page allows me to set up a threshold for the normal amount of mail that is pending delivery. So this is basically a way to check that the hub server is routing mail appropriately. Disk space, pretty self-explanatory. Is there a disk available on an absolute number or percentage available on any particular drive, getting below whatever we've determined is the threshold. Again, here's where we determine that. Maintenance allows me to establish a schedule within which we have expected and anticipated downtime. A couple things happen there. It comes out of your availability calculation, so you don't get penalized for doing good hygiene every 3rd day or 3rd week or 1st of the month or whatever it happens to be. And these different pages allow you to set up those intervals. We are actually still alerting during that, and so as soon as that window closes, if the server has not come up, you probably want to know about that, and indeed we would notify you. And then categorization allows me to have multiple sets of tags. I only have 2 in this example set up, but you can have more than that, where I can flag individual servers with different categorization methods, tags that you define whatever you want them to be, and then that governs what pushes data into, or how it's pushed and viewed into Analyzer when we're looking at the reporting stuff. Now we've gone a little bit longer than I anticipated, so I'm going to wrap up here. There's a whole lot of statistics that we need to get into. There's a lot more to the UI, and then there's the whole reporting piece that we want to talk about in the next session. Please join us for that. Thanks.